Alrighty, let's get things started off with the rankings. We're ranked fourth everywhere, basically. We're ranked fourth in the AP. We're ranked fourth in the coaches poll. And we're in the top 25 that actually makes sense from Mark Rogers himself. Ranked number four. And we knew that was coming after Miami losing and a few other things that happened, of course. But what did you think, Brody, when you saw that?
I mean, in terms of how Alabama's played, having won 4 games in a row against ranked opponents, top 20 opponents at that, I think Alabama's well deserving of being right there at number four. I think, in all honesty, that Alabama's the second best team in the country, if not first. I'm giving Ohio State the benefit of the doubt, considering they haven't lost yet, but I think it's a good spot to be in. Still got room to improve. In the past, when you put us at one or two, like Coach Saban always says, it's rat poison. I kind of like sitting at number four. Obviously, you have a target on your back, but I think that this team has proven, the past few weeks that they're not the same team that they were in week one. The team that we're seeing is playing like a top four caliber football team. One of the best teams in the nation. So, I definitely feel like it's a good spot to be. I feel like the polls got it right on the latest ranking that they gave Alabama. I would say it's pretty fair.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like it's still kind of funny seeing Texas A&M like us being below them by a little bit, and
Yeah,
it's still weird not playing Ole Miss, but it's
that's all. That's going to take some getting used to. You know, the rescheduling and stuff, and especially LSU next year too. Man, that's a weird one.
oh my god, that's gonna well we are gonna play LSU in 2026, but we won't play them in
Yeah,
2027.
true. I see this new format is just like it's weird. It's weird to keep up. It's like 25 and 26 were home and home virtually, and 26 is one, and then 27 is completely different for the most part. It's outside of your permanent opponent. So I don't know, man. But like you said, Texas A&M, they've had a really good season thus far. Obviously, I don't think that they've played the schedule that Alabama has. I don't think anybody in the country has. So for Alabama to go undefeated, here in the past 4 weeks against teams, obviously Georgia's right there at five. You got Missouri, who's a top 25 caliber team, Vanderbilt as well. And then obviously Tennessee right there at 17. So not many teams, like I said, no teams can really say that they've done that. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Texas A&M has taken care of business and won every game. In my opinion, I do think that Alabama's better. Texas A&M just had, a more fortunate, more, uh, I guess, suitable schedule for them because they haven't had to play Georgia yet. They haven't had to play Vandy or Missouri or Tennessee. So that's the way that I look at it. I think that Alabama's a better team, but Texas A&M's just in a spot where they're undefeated. I mean, that's the way that I look at it.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, like that, the Vandy win keeps getting better as the season goes on. The Georgia win keeps getting better as the season goes on. And, Tennessee, I think they're going to go down a couple more times, but probably, I feel like it's going to be more than a couple times. I don't know why, but I feel like Tennessee's going to go down to Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, and they always go down in Gainesville to Florida. That
Yeah.
it's like the piano. It's like Wiley Coyote falling off the cliff, looking at that goodbye face as he's about to fall down. That's how Tennessee is in Gainesville. But yeah, you can't ever expect Tennessee to get these right there. But like Missouri Vanderbilt, college game day in town in Nashville for the first time since October 4th, 2008, where game day went to Vanderbilt, Auburn, and Brett Musburger and Kirk Herbstreit were on the call on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
the thing with Vandy is, you know, a lot of people, they really saw the true Vandy, I feel like last week. I know that they competed with Alabama and they've had some good wins at Virginia Tech. They smoke pulled South Carolina. But, last week, I know that LSU was struggling, obviously. Garrett Nussmeier hasn't been playing like he was last year and how people anticipated. But the way that Vanderbilt's offense operates is they got a high potent offense. They got a quarterback that doesn't make bad decisions, doesn't make careless mistakes, doesn't turn the football over. He can run, he can throw. They got several playmakers around him. I mean, Alabama fans saw that when we played them. I was there. It was halftime, and I was thinking, "Uh-oh, we're in for a dogfight." Unfortunately, the defense came out and pitched out a shutout. But there's not many teams that will be able to shut down that Vanderbilt offense. And for the defense, I feel like it's pretty underrated. I know they got one of the best rush defenses in the country. So Clark Lee, he's a great coach. I know Missouri is going to be a test, but who would have ever thought that Vandy would actually have somewhat of a home atmosphere and even have game day in Nashville? Since James Franklin left, like I don't think anybody would have envisioned that. And for Alabama to say that they have beaten both of those teams, I just feel like that's a huge testament to how Alabama has played the past 4 weeks and how they've continued to improve over the course of the season. But I definitely think that's going to be a good one. I don't really know which way it's going to go. I guess I would probably give Vanderbilt the edge because they're at home and it's proven to be pretty difficult to play in Nashville nowadays. So that's just my take on that one, though.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a fun one seeing Missouri Vandy, but well, Harry kid, you and I will probably be watching Alabama South Carolina, so we'll
Oh
be too
yeah,
busy.
yeah. I'm going to be in Columbia this weekend, so but I'll be checking. Hopefully, they got a little scoreboard. You know how Alabama has the scoreboards on the side. They got the scores that scroll across. I'm hoping that they have that because I'll definitely be keeping in. I hope I'm looking at it because that means that Alabama's playing well. If I'm looking at it, Alabama's playing well. If I'm not looking at it, that means that Alabama's struggling, and I don't really want to pay attention to what anybody else is doing. So. Um,
Oh
I'm
no.
hopeful that Alabama goes into Columbia and takes care of business this weekend.
Oh, agreed. I mean, like we should take care of business, because it's like all we just have to make sure is put a stop to the Lenore Sellers, and we're good to go. Put a stop to South Carolina's running back, we're good. I mean, South Carolina hasn't been good this season, but they could have their backs against the corner and try to upset us as they have nothing to lose, really.
Right. And a lot of people are coming for a name that Alabama fans are all too familiar with. I know you've seen it. Mike Shula is like getting thrown around into the fire. Like there's no escaping for Mike Shula. And
I love
like
it.
all the pressure is on his shoulders. Alabama fans, they're not the biggest fans of Mike Shula with how he coached at Alabama, but it's he's going to be coming out throwing a lot of different looks at Alabama. Last year, I know that team was a little bit better than this year's team. Obviously, you're seeing that now. But like you said, you still got Lenore Sellers. You still got to account for him. They still got a running back in Rasul Faison who's pretty good. Hadn't really had that breakout game yet. He showed that what his potential was at Utah State. Obviously, got the waiver and hasn't played like everybody thought he would. The offense just hasn't played very well. The defense has struggled tremendously too. So the way that I kind of look at South Carolina, if I'm Alabama, is I would literally view it as this, Jackson. I would literally say we're going to. I would basically say that South Carolina is like going to Nashville last year. They lost to Georgia State. You go in, they got a good quarterback. Nobody else around him is just like really talked about. And that's how South Carolina is. It's sellers, sellers, sellers. That's all you hear about. And he hasn't played well. And everybody else around him is kind of an afterthought. So if I'm DeBoer, I'm saying, hey guys, look, this is a more hostile atmosphere. It's pretty much just like Vandy. We got to go in here and take care of business because they should have beaten us last year. Had he not thrown that interception, Alabama probably would have had no shot at the playoffs. There would have been 4 losses. So I hope that Alabama doesn't take this game for granted. I think they're mature enough not to. I think that Kalen DeBoer's emotion and intensity, I think that it's going to get this team fired up, riled up, ready to go. I do like the fact that it's not a 12 o'clock kickoff. Give the guys a little bit more time because I'm not the biggest fan of noon, 11 o'clock kickoffs, whichever time zone you're in. But I think that it's going to be a game that Alabama should be able to, um, you know, get on top early, stay ahead. Hopefully, get some. I think this is a potential game, Jackson. This may be one of the few, the rest of the way outside of Eastern Illinois, that Alabama should be able to get, Austin Mack in the game or, um, you know, Jalen Hale, Cole Adams, guys like that. Keon Keeley, just get some guys some reps, valuable reps. This should be a game. I'm not saying it will be, should be. But like I said, we'll see how things go in Columbia this weekend.